candy in there too. I do. I get some of that. We get two. We get two of them.
Okay. Take breath. Take clear water.
I'm sorry. What you want?
That's not nearly.
All right, it's 12:30. Call the meeting to order, and I will entertain an approval of the agenda. Any further comments, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Well, first on the agenda is a recognition, and we had the board office wall art display, and Ms. Hopfield is going to present that information.
Good afternoon. Aubrey Sullivan, if you'll make your, pay attention over here to the corner, we have 3 photographs that Miss Aubrey Sullivan volunteered to take. We are going to start an art display here at Central Office. This is basically just a unique undertaking. She took countless amounts of pictures. She's done this at several locations throughout the district, and the plan is to continue this at every building. The first one that we are showing you tonight is actually at senior high, and this is just kind of an artistic way to represent that campus. And so, is Aubrey here? Come up here, Aubrey. We'd just like to say thank you. The pictures are beautiful. We look forward to seeing what the rest of the photographs look like that you bring. Also, these are going to be displayed downstairs in the small conference room. Okay? Thank you.
Well, before that, we've got the Project iLearn partnership, and I made the board aware of this back in March that we reached out to our community businesses as far as partnering with our Project iLearn team. And tonight, what I would like to do is recognize those businesses that have partnered with the Sikeston R6 School District. We had Allen Wire Company, which is a gold member, in contributing $2,000. Alcorn Realty contributed $100, and they are a member. Altruza Club is a bronze member, and they donated $400. Burns, Taylor, Heckmeyer, Green, and Edwards is a gold member. They contributed $2,000. David Crater, attorney at law, bronze member, $400. Four Corners Development, Scott Matthews is a member of $100. Lawrence & Lawrence, a member of $100. Love's Travel Stop is a member of $250. Men's & Men's is a member of $100. Pyramid Roofing Company is a bronze member with $400. And SHRM of Southeast Missouri is a bronze member of $400. And we had Associated Electric, which is a bronze member of $400. So we have a total of $6,650 that will be contributed to the Project iLearn project initiative. So I wanted to thank them and recognize them. They will be recognized during the basketball games, during the football games. We're going to place their names on the Sikeston High School message board during the summertime and recognize them that way. We've also placed them on the board website, and so we are very appreciative of their donation to our project. So thank you very much.
Before you go on, Tom, I had a question about that. Can groups donate anonymously?
Sure can.
No.
If they don't want the recognition, Scott, they most certainly can.
Okay. All right.
Just let me say before we get started with the rest of our recognition, we have a lot of events going on in the district today. We've got baseball, we've got 2 or 3 other events going on. We have a band concert or a band dinner tonight as well. So there are a few of these people that are not going to be here, but it's not because they didn't want to be here, but because they had other prior engagements. So I just want to say that before we start. This year's SETC has almost 200 members in their SkillsUSA. SETC SkillsUSA had 65 students to qualify for their state contest. SETC medaled in 19 of the 27 events this year with a total of 38 medals. So at this time, we're going to be recognizing these individuals. First, Cody Basinger. No, let me tell you, Cody finished first place in the national qualifier in television production. Hannah Carnell is not here. First place, national qualifier advertising design. Ariel Henson. First place, national qualifier, CPS Health Science, Colby Henson. Colby finished first place in the state, was a national qualifier in dye sublimation. Alexis McCutcheon, first place at the state, national qualifier, CPS Health Science. Sophia Maharis. First place in the state, national qualifier, CPS Health Science. William Nail. First place, state, national qualifier, television production. Valerie Bard. Second place, state, culinary arts, tech information. Curtis Barnett. Second place, state, automotive refinishing. Jonah Blees. Criminal Justice Quiz Bowl, second place in the state. Brittany Bruderman. CPS Health Science, second place in the state. Bernice Castro. Second place state finish, Health Knowledge Bowl. Vernon Chandler. Audio Radio Production, second place state. Charles Tucker Cheney. Second place in the state, Criminal Justice Quiz Bowl. Shanderia Clark. Maybe. Criminal Justice Quiz Bowl, second place. Amelia Day. Health Knowledge Bowl, second place. Jonathan Deegan. Criminal Justice Quiz Bowl, second place. Ashley Gilman. Informational Craft Bulletin Board, second place. Alyssa Hillis. Dye Sublimation, second place. Mackenzie Lynch. CPS Health Science, second place. Alyssa Nolan. Health Knowledge Bowl, second place. Austin Novak. Criminal Justice, second place. Katie Oliver. Informational Craft Bulletin Board, second place. Nevin Sharkey. Crime Scene Investigation, second place. Destiny Sloan. Crime Scene Investigation, second place. Austin Stafford. Criminal Justice Quiz Bowl, second place. Josh Thompson. Audio Radio Production, second place. Akivia Watson. Crime Scene Investigation, second place. Lee Williams. Health Knowledge Bowl, second place. Cheyenne Worley. Jalen Anderson. Advertising Design, third place. Cody Basinger. Oh, Cody's already up here. He wasn't here earlier, but is he not here?
He's coming in, if you want to go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, he was back in the other. He got first place and third place. Madison Davis. Early Childhood Education and Tech Information, third place. Taranya King. Restaurant Service, third place. Sorry about that. Sarah Noiseworthy. Customer Service, third place. Erica Valquez. Culinary Arts, Tech Information, third place. Is this Cody? Come on in here.
This is
Oh,
Okay, which one?
okay.
You're Eric?
And then Cody. Our sponsors, Curtis Barnett. Dee Beidler. Oh, here comes Curtis. great group right here in this room. Well. Congratulations, you all represented our school district well. I know that Mr. King is beaming here with joy at this moment. Congratulations, thank you sponsors for all your hard work and students, and have a good last few days of school. Thank you.
Brian, looks like your kid just split and left you.
He's got basketball.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Steve. Okay. Our next group is the Sikeston High School varsity boys basketball team. I'm going to introduce them, bring them in, and then we'll talk a bit about them. And there was a few of them that have some individual awards that we want to recognize tonight. First, we have Keith Blissett, Austin Branch, Raleigh Glass, Kobe Henson, DJ Hill, Peyton Howard, it's a baseball game, Guy Trey Jenkins, Kevin Jones, Don Larry, Owen Long. The other twin, Parker Long. Dylan Mills, Jaquan Ray, Clark Stewart, baseball, Fred Thatch, our managers, Ben Schrump, Ben James, Creighton Sarakis, our coaches are Greg Hollifield, Will Hollifield, Brian James, Derek James, also known as Dean, Chris Sarakis, okay, a few of these individuals received some awards. Trey Jenkins was chosen SEMO All-Conference Honorable Mention as well as All-District. Kevin Jones was chosen as SEMO All-Conference and All-District. Parker Long, SEMO All-Conference Honorable Mention, All-District Honorable Mention. Fred Thatch, SEMO All-Conference, SEMO All-Conference Player of the Year, All-District, All-State, Class 4 Player of the Year in the state of Missouri, All-USA Missouri Boys Basketball Team, and the Standard Democrat Player of the Year. This group of young men, the Bulldogs basketball team, ended their season with a record of 27 wins and 4 losses. The team gave Bulldog Nation many exciting games this year, including championships in the CMO Conference Tournament, St. Dominic Christmas Tournament, Fort Zumwalt North Tournament. The team finished the regular season as the CMO Conference Tournament champions, CMO Conference regular season champions, our district champions, sectional champions, and they finished 4th in the state tournament at the Class 4 Show Me Showdown. What a great and exciting year it's been. Again, it seems like the expectation each year is this, and each year you keep delivering. We'd just like to say thank you for representing Sikeston School District, putting Sikeston School District on the map in boys basketball, and the many fans that fill up that field house and follow you on the road each and every game. Appreciates what you do. We know there's late nights, a lot of travel, and you still keep up your grades. You come to school every day, and you represent us well on the floor, both coaches and players and managers, and we just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you all.
You've been good, Constance. All right.
Really good. Well, let's move on to the informational part of the agenda, and first we have the parents as teachers. Oh, there's Jenny back there. I didn't see you back there. Jenny's going to present that information.
I'd like to share some numbers with you from this year of our Parents as Teachers program. We still currently just have one parent educator, Marilyn Schlosser. She's located at the alternative building. I am her supervisor through the Parents as Teachers program. This year, she served 69 families on personal home visits. 93 children have received personal home visits this year. She's done a total of 375 personal contacts. And we had 151 children ages birth to 3 that were screened. And currently, 383 children ages 4 to 6 that have been screened. Maryland's just one person, so these numbers are really good for just one person. Our screening numbers were good this year. Now, Maryland does not screen all those herself. That was at our mass birth to 4 screening and our kindergarten screening also, but she does also do screenings in the home. So numbers looking pretty steady this year, just slightly different from last year, and the screening numbers look really well. Any questions for me on that? The PAT funding still not great there as Rosine with the one educator that we still have. Some districts have even chosen just to do the screenings. They have to at least offer that, but we've got her in the home. And I think it's great. She makes a lot of good personal relation contacts for us and getting people into our district.
So for the newer guys on the board, we used to have 2.
4 at one time.
4? I guess when mine went through, there were 2.
Yeah, up to 4 at one time, and then it was down to 3, then 2, then 1. So, but she does a good job. Has a good early childhood background and gets people. At least she knows how to get people connected to resources for other things too. It's a good thing.
Have we tried the volunteer route to get additional screeners? Is that, or do you have to be certified?
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be parents and teachers. You have to go to like a week-long training and be certified. Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Jenny.
Appreciate it.
And it's that time of year, so we have a graduation procedure report. Mr. Bay is going to inform you as far as what we're going to be doing on the 20th.
I assume you have this on the document.
Yes, they have it on their.
Okay.
On their.
I'm not going to insult your intelligence. We're just going to move forward here. Our graduation is set for Sunday, May 20th, beginning at 2 p.m. Naturally, we check the weather forecast. Mr. Williams has been informing me daily here, it seems like. We've had an argument here just a while ago, AccuWeather versus
Weather Channel.
Weather Channel, so, I think him and Mr. King are gonna wrestle it out here after a while about that. If there's inclement weather, if there's 50% chance 2 days prior to, we will move to the field house. If you know anybody that's in good with anybody that controls the rain.
I know the guy.
The gates will be open at 1 o'clock for the public. Students, graduates will meet up in the cafeteria, line up, and that's a whole procedure that is taken care of by Ms. Thornborough, Mr. McGill, Coach Sheeter. We get them lined up, we walk them down. If you've ever been to a football game, they come through the football gate entrance, walk around behind the track, and then we have the bulldog head there. They enter those semblance here. They enter going through the bulldogs, split, take their seats, and then graduation happens. Then they walk out through the bulldog head one more time, and out they go. It's pretty. We've got this down pretty much to a science. We get them started, walk towards the football field at 1:15, and by 1:50 they're in their seats. So we try to move it along pretty quickly. At the end of the ceremony, we will head them up, and they can meet their parents up on the practice football field for photos and things like that. But you have all the supervision there, you can see, and there is, I don't know, did you all get the map too? We have administrators where they're supposed to be and things like that. So we have DPS is on board with this. They block the streets off, they help exit people, they help crowd control, they monitor things, they got their all their bells and whistles and their bomb truck and all that stuff. They monitor all that stuff, and so it's like I said, it runs pretty well as a well-oiled machine can be outside. I think as far as the inside graduation, again, we don't want that if we can avoid it. One, it limits students to 10 tickets, 4 on the floor, so it puts families at odds, who gets to sit on the floor, who doesn't, who has to sit in the bleachers, things of this nature, and you only receive 10 tickets. Some people obviously have more, things of that nature. So outside is definitely the best. I'm sure Mr. Williams has said he has told you you will have some reserved parking spots in the tennis court parking. So as soon as you pull in, you look immediately to your left. I think there will be right along the street side. That will be your parking area for you all to enter. And I think Mr. Williams also has talked to you about we want to stay off the stage. We'll split half and half, and then after all the graduates are seated, or potential graduates are seated, then we'll walk up on the stage together and go from there. I think graduation is down to about an hour and hour 32. We've got. It moves along fairly well.
One thing I mentioned to you all the other night is that those people that are speaking will not be introduced. So basically what we're going to do is kind of introduce one another, I guess, with just nothing spectacular, just like, speaking will be
I believe the senior class president will introduce me, and I'll make my announcements for who is receiving awards. Then I will introduce Mr. Williams, and Mr. Williams will introduce you, and we'll go from there.
Will you remind us, I know we wanted to switch it to the weekend this year, but I don't remember, whether there was a conflict with people playing sports or something?
Well, we Saturdays, there's district and sectionals always on Saturdays. Track, baseball.
Last year, baseball.
Yeah.
Last year, there was a conflict with baseball.
Was it, yeah, something during the week, so we talked about doing it on the
And
weekend.
yes, and so we sent out a survey, and it was like 85% positive. People wanted to have it on Sunday. We have several schools in the area that do it on Sunday. they said it's been the best thing that they've done was to switch it. Most of the comments we got back were, I'm glad it's on Sunday because when we had it on Thursdays, I'd have to miss. I'd have parents that couldn't come because they had work obligations and things like that. So the Sunday, they used it for travel, and so it really worked out well for them. And we set it at 2 for the churchgoers in the morning. They could get there, and the evening churchgoers, they could also get there. So
I think it's great.
it worked out. I think it's worked out, and everything's, like I said, has been very positive. We've run a couple glitches, but we've worked them out.
I mentioned on the notes too that we'll assemble, I put down 1:30 just because it's kind of something for the high school administration to know that everybody's going to be there, and just so we can assemble. And I sit underneath the scoreboard, but I think actually we're kind of by that gate on the track is where we go. If we're inside, we will assemble on the west side next to the stage, which means you'll go all the way down right next to the stage on the left side if you're looking forward. But hopefully we won't have to.
The weight room side,
I'm sorry?
The weight room side.
Yes, the weight room side, yeah.
Consider 1:30.
Still 1:30.
Yeah, if it's indoor, it will be the same time.
And I'll send out another note to you guys too, just informing you if that does occur.
I don't know if this, just so you know, this is just an FYI. Our senior poem was written by Emily Limbaugh. It's titled "In the Moment." One of our senior speeches. Thank you. I was lost with. It's called "Our Bulldog Heart" by Janae Robinson, and the other is "Moving Forward" by Fidel Avalon. So we'll be our speakers at graduation. Good. Questions?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda is the report on closing of school.
He's touched on a few things. Graduation is May 20th at 2. Class of 2018 parade is the morning of May 14th. They will begin this at 8:30, and this is where we load them on buses and they go back to their school if they have an elementary or kindergarten, different schools, and the kids kind of cheer them on and tell them good luck and that sort of thing. It's pretty emotional for our students. We just started this a few years ago, and it's been a real success, so they're pretty excited about that. Seniors' last day is May 19th. They will be released at 10:30. New Horizons.
That's actually the 18th. 19th Saturday.
16th.
Oh, is it 16th?
14, 15, 16
16th half a day.
is half a day, Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
We'll say,
The 16th, and then they had the 17th off, and we graduate practice on the 18th.
Okay. Sorry about that. Is that how it is on the calendar?
Yes, ma'am.
Just making sure. I don't know where I got that 19 in. Okay, New Horizons graduation celebration is May 18th. Is that correct?
17.
Well, I'll be. Is that on the calendar that way too?
It is. It was a change.
We know.
Was it changed?
Originally it was the 18th.
Okay, there we go.
We know you didn't type that up.
Okay, is it 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Okay. If you haven't had an opportunity to go to that, that is really something I would try to put on your calendar if you have an opportunity to get over there. That's a fun time. I mean, they do, well, most of them will still walk with the entire district, but this is just a little more of a, I guess, I don't know, intimate time for them. They do a lot of fun things. It's the music is always really good. Ms. Robinson does a great job with that as well. Is the last day of school May 24th?
No, actually it's the 29th.
If we can move that up.
That's tomorrow?
May not.
May not.
Okay, hang on.
Early
So-
release? Oh,
So
sorry.
New Horizons is May 7th. I'm trying to put it in my calendar.
May 17th at 10
17th
a.m.
at 10. Got it.
Generally about an hour.
We'll have about 50 seniors graduating.
About 50 seniors at New Horizons this year. That's awesome.
If I can, we're looking at 220-ish graduating from with the whole overall. And that's not, we still have some that haven't decided if they're going to walk or not, but right around 220.
Early release on the last day of school, we'll start with alternative at 10 a.m. High school, 5th and 6th grade, 11:20, junior high, 11:40, elementary, 12, and kindergarten last but not least, 12:15. This summer, June 14th, we will have an administrative staff meeting in preparation for the upcoming year. We get off to a new start pretty quickly. That's a day we'll spend with administrators just going through training and different things that we'll have expectations for them that following year. And this year we're doing something a little different with an administrative handbook that we're going to be giving out and going through with them on that day as well. One thing that's not on here, NEE is our evaluation tool, and we have recertification for all administrators on June 6th.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious, you know, the bus tour that they
And I
have.
apologize, I had the wrong dates.
What do you do as an alternative for those that don't have an elementary school to go to?
Pick one.
We let them pick one, or if we try to even the numbers out, so we had more kids going to Lee Hunter, and so we may dump a few in the Matthews. Every kid will go to their elementary school, where they, like my son went to Lee Hunter, so he'll go through Lee Hunter, but they'll all go to the 5th and 6th because they were all there. They will all go to the junior high because they were there. So they go to their elementary, to the 5th and 6th, and then to the junior high. Not every girl.
Yeah.
And the kindergarten, and kindergarten, I'm sorry, and all kindergarten, yes, yes. So everybody will eventually get every school that they want.
And we got 2 more years of Morehouse kids.
Right,
We don't have a.
right, and so I think we just try to divide them up and even the numbers. And I think we have a group of about 12 or 15 that will go to sanitary.
Oh,
St. Francis, I'm sorry. not St.
Really?
St. Francis, yes.
oh, that's cool.
So it's good.
Thank you all. Next is the student enrollment as of May 1st of 2018, and our enrollment is 3,275. If you read my notes there, we're down 19 students from the April enrollment. K through 6, we're down 2 students. 7 through 12, we're down 18 students, and the alternative school is up 1 student. Again, that totals 3,275. Next in your packet, we have the student discipline data, and you can review that information. Any questions that we may discuss? Next on the agenda is board policy consideration, and this is a JDR-1 or JDR-1. This is the policy addition that we talked about the other night. And the proposal on that for the board's consideration is to have students in grades 7 through 12 who would receive out-of-school suspension 5 through 10 would have the option of receiving makeup work, credit, tests, the whole thing, if they agree to community service hours. And so with that, the students would be required to perform 2 hours per day for every day that they're past that 5 days, if that makes sense. We've discussed this administratively, and they're coming up with an agreement that would be signed by the student if they go into this. And a part of that agreement would be agreed upon places that they could do community-type volunteer work.
I don't remember talking about excluding from that, like, let's say somebody gets suspended for 4 days and they have 2 finals. Are they not going to get to?
Not part of this, no.
Why wouldn't we ever do that? To meet the same purpose. of why we-
Here's the thing with that, and thinking anything below 5 is that what happens so many times is kids understand that if they have like ISS as an example, and they don't want to be in ISS, let's say for 3 days, what they'll do is they'll go ahead and get suspended because they don't want to be in there. They're more than often going to try and do that more often, I would think, if they know that they could get their makeup work. That was the thinking behind doing it 1 through 4, if that makes sense.
I think somebody who's going to try to get an OSS out of ISS is not going to care about doing the makeup work. It's the ones who would care about being able to make up their work that I'm more concerned about. This will allow everybody here, who wants to do it, do it. But I think you're still dealing with the same small set of kids who are going to be those ones that want to do the makeup work.
Okay.
I mean, that's my thought on that.
Okay.
I'm kind of with Rebecca on that. I mean, unless there's administration issue. I think you're gonna have a ton of kids that probably won't take advantage of this. I do like the community service part. I think that's, I don't know if you make them do it full time, if they wanna do it. I don't know if that's even possible.
So I'm having a little trouble reading. Tell me a little bit again what you're thinking. I know you want to do 1 through 10, is what you're saying? Is that the proposal?
My only thought is missing finals or major exams, is making sure that they don't miss those if we're trying to graduate or not penalize the student.
Maybe we need to have more discussion on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we could, that was a part of what we discussed last week, so.
We don't have a deadline on this.
no.
We don't have a deadline, it just has to go, we can always amend JDR, which we can always amend the student handbook.
Right.
So that up until August 15th or 14th, where the first day of school is. So I think maybe we need to have a little more discussion.
We have another work session.
Maybe in a work session. I agree. Okay. We will leave that under consideration. Okay, going into required action, request permission to schedule executive session to discuss personnel matters and also student matters immediately following this meeting.
So moved.
Yes.
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 Okay, the second item is a consideration of the lodge system. This was something that we had discussed back in January, February, I do believe, and we also discussed it last week. It appeared that the lodge system itself was agreeable by the board, but it was more along the lines of the distinction. And what the proposal has been made by the counselors at the high school is to remove that distinction part of it and to simply do the honors and recognize those kids as honor students for taking your dual credit, your advanced placement, or your honors classes. And what they have recommended is that those students who take 6 semesters of those classes would be recognized. So they may not necessarily get the lodge system recognition, but they could get that of the honors recognition. So the proposal as given to you and discussed last week is my recommendation to the Board of Education.
I move we accept this lodge system proposal.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Any further discussion? Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all very much. I know you.
Thanks for all your
I know you worked at least 30 or 40 minutes on that. I'm kidding. No, you guys worked very, very hard on that. We appreciate your efforts on that.
Yes, thank
Good
you.
resolution.
Next, we have the consideration renewal of health insurance for June 2018 through May of 2019.
It is the administration's recommendation that the Board of Education accept Health Scope as our third-party administrator, along with HealthLink as our network administrator, renewing at a 7% increase on premiums. The board is continuing to pay 85%. Including in the renewal is the addition of services by a company called AIM. They will provide education resources and support for our members and also claims management for the plan itself. Also in the renewal is adding Mercy Hospital to Tier 2 with Southeast. And the only other change there is on our Tier 3 HealthLink network. Max out of pocket was raised from $2,500 and $5,000 to $3,000 and $6,000 because we just don't have the discounts in that Tier 3 that we do in Tier 1 and Tier 2. If the board accepts this recommendation, continuing to pay at 85% of the 7% increase, board pay will be $633 a month or $7,600 a year for active member.
I move we accept Ms. Worthman's recommendation for health insurance.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion, questions, comments? Barb, is that the presenter?
That'll be next year.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. We have the consideration of policy JHDF, which is our youth suicide awareness and prevention announcement, as proposed by MSBA with local amendment.
Did we get input from?
So we're voting on this already?
Yes, and the reason why I wanted to leave it on here, and we can still table it, but I wanted to leave it on here in case you all decided that it was fine and we could go ahead and vote on it and get that passed. Here's what we did on this. Shannon went ahead and provided this to Boot Hill Counseling. Boot Hill Counseling had 2 or 3 of their folks there, counselors, review the policy itself. They were fine with the policy. They felt like that, well, they said recommend as is. One thing I know that you had talked about, and I looked in that other policy that you gave me the other day, to remove that section in there that talked about by 5th grade, starting no later than 5th grade, to leave that off, remove that totally, and basically just leave it, students will receive age-appropriate information, meaning that when they get into the health classes, that would be age-appropriate for them to go ahead and start reviewing that information.
I think that'd be good.
But their recommendation, and also we had our school-based social worker look at this policy, and the policy, as they saw it, was fine. So
I will just say that our school social worker had concerns about the same thing about age appropriate, and so she was in agreement that was her feedback, main feedback.
Instead of putting a grade in there.
Yeah.
Put age appropriate.
She told me to do that.
I was gonna say, what?
Down on the last page.
very last page, guys,
Yeah, it's
page 7, suicide prevention education for students.
no way.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. 'Cause
and it says
5th grade is where they,
starting no later than 5th grade, and that was the recommendation of the DESE model plan, is what they recommended. But
But this doesn't, if you take that out and just say age appropriate, then we can decide as a district,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah,
when we think it's appropriate for our kids.
that's right. Yes.
I would recommend that we adopt this policy with an amendment to
taking those 5 words out or whatever.
say,
Remove that.
students
Just
will
students will
receive, yes,
receive.
taking the first 5 words out of the suicide prevention education for students.
Yeah, 6, sorry. 6 words.
6 words.
And that is done.
Second.
Any further questions, comments? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Next, we have the consideration of student meal and adult meal pricing for the 2018-2019 school year.
I will start by saying that should the administration be able to bring to you in June a plan that CEP works for the district, either in part of the district or K-12, we'll just rescind these meal prices, but we needed to get these approved so that if we weren't able to do that at all grade levels, then we would have something in place so Brian Henson could print our applications for next year. So we may backtrack next month. USDA mandates that if you are not participating in CEP, the community eligibility provision, that you review and do an annual calculation. They provide the formula. The max that they can require is a 10-cent increase. Our calculation this year was actually 14 cents. Administration is recommending the max at 10 cents for student lunches. We either have to raise our prices according to the calculator, with the max being 10 cents, or we have to subsidize the food service program with an end of the year adjustment from local. On the adult meals, they're set to cover the actual Aramark rates. So on adult meals, there will be no increase. We're covering that. Breakfast will go up a nickel, and then we will level off there and finally be to a point that we're collecting from the adults what Aramark is charging. Student lunches, we're recommending a 10-cent increase. Breakfast, there's no increase required. A la carte at this point, and we'll come back to you in June if there's a certain item that has a big increase. We're recommending a 10-cent increase across the board with the exception of milk, juice, and water, and we're not recommending an increase on those. And again, if these are approved tonight and we can do CEP, we'll rescind these next month.
The a la carte will still be available even if we have the CEP, correct?
Yes.
And we didn't really discuss that.
Yes, it'll still be there. We will limit it to trying to get the kids to take all the cart items that can be made into a reimbursable meal.
Sure.
I had a 20-minute phone conversation with a lady today whose kid's averaging $18 a day on a la carte. So parents will appreciate it if we can get that all worked into. Yeah.
We'll make a motion that we receive the administration's recommendation on meal prices.
Second. Motion and second, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And guys, we also need to do that for the a la carte pricing. So we did that for student meal, and Lori went through the a la carte as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you did.
No,
You're fine.
It's
You're
all the
good.
same.
You're good.
There's two.
While you're standing, you must get it going.
The whole middle.
I move we accept the administration's recommendation on the a la carte pricing.
Second. Motion and second. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, number 8.
We're doing it all in one motion, not in.
That's right. That's fine.
I'm going to,
Okay.
oh. Just keep it between the ditches, okay?
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Next, we have the consideration of the bus lease financing, and Ms. Board, just stand.
I'm just gonna stand. May and June, it's all about Lori. This was my first experience with school bus leasing. We have always been in an economic situation where we could either not buy buses at all, or we could buy 2 a year, and we were able to budget for that. And the few years that we didn't buy buses and got off our rotation, our fleet got really old and in really bad shape. So our transportation director came to us and the board approved 5 transit buses back in one of the earlier meetings in the winter. And it was the administration's recommendation at that time, if we would approve those buses, then we would seek financing closer to the end of the fiscal year. So we have done that process. We did take sealed requests for proposals. We advertised in the paper. We reached out to institutions that had expressed an interest in dealing with the district in the past. We sent out to about 8 different companies. We did receive 3 complete requests for proposals back. They were all very good. We had asked for both annual and semi-annual financing interest if applicable. We had asked for a payment schedule in advance or in arrears just to see if there was a difference in savings there. The one option that we had is that it had to be, or the first payment had to be after July 1 of 2018 because it could not be in this fiscal year. So all 3 that came in on time. They were complete. They met all of their criteria. They were very clear in their fee structure if it applied. We had interest rates as low as 2.69, as high as 3.46. They all did offer a buyout so that if we do get a windfall and we want to pay it off early and save some interest like we've done with some of our past bonds, that was in all of their payment plans. The reason our board president has stepped out is that First State Community Bank was one of the banks that sent the bid in. They actually had the lowest interest rate of 2.69%. That was advance payment, first payment due on July the 15th of 2018. It was an annual rate, 2.69%. Total interest paid, all of this was set for 5 years of leasing. Total interest paid, should we stay on the finance plan for all 5 years, is $24,029.40. It's the administration's recommendation that we accept the First State Community Bank advance payment option at 2.69, and that's just simply based on the lowest cost to finance these buses and in all other terms.
So it's a fee, a one-time fee?
Yes, it's a one-time fee.
And this is a 4-year?
Five. We're spreading out over 5.
Were the other banks local that bid on this?
Yes.
I move that we accept the administration's recommendation to accept First State Community Bank for our lease program.
It's the way they fall. The first one's July of 18, July of 19, July of 20, July of 21, July of 22. So it's 5 payments.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 years. fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second.
I thought it was new math. We got a motion, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Can you
Thank
tell
you.
Matt that it didn't pass?
That would not be administration's
Yeah.
recommendation.
Sorry about that.
Next, we have the consideration of FY18 budget adjustment. Lori?
This is, I gave the board an Excel spreadsheet, and there's lots of entries, so it looks very complicated, and it was very tedious, but this is just absolutely cleaning up, mainly matching federal programs. We had some allocation increases come down the pipe, which is good news that we got some more money. But we always have to keep our finance program in sync with whatever that allocation is, or the guys get in trouble, and they don't want to get in trouble. We want to collect our money. So mainly this is just cleanup. We had some cleanup on a couple of Chad's grants that he was able to close out. We got some new money on Title I. We had to change our allocation on special ed. So mainly this is just cleanup. Most entries offset each other. We did have an expenditure decrease of $7,240.58 and a revenue increase of $128,225.36. So we're going the right direction. Expenditures down, revenue up. So it's the administration's recommendation that you accept these adjustments.
So
Second.
Motion and a second. Further comments, questions?
Yeah, the increase in revenues, Lori, is that something that came in just unexpectedly, or is it the way that some of the grant cycles run?
Just with the windfall in Title I was completely unexpected. We got about $30,000 new money. They recognized our carryover finally. Not finally for us. They recognized our carryover a few months back. We just hadn't brought you all a budget adjustment. So it's been a combination of things. So you have to remember when we originally adopted the budget, especially on federal programs like the guys got their allocations this week. So we're going to bring you the budget based on that in June. And they're going to change in July, and they're going to change in August, and they're probably going to change again in January. And then we got new money in April, and we don't know why, but we didn't ask, we just figured out a way to spend it. So it's kind of been, I should have really brought you a budget adjustment sooner on some of the initial things, and we just couldn't get it on some of the agendas. So this is late year cleanup on federal dollars.
So the $1 million question is, how close does this get us to balance?
Not even close. Yeah, you have to remember you adopted a budget with a $1.7 million deficit.
1.7.
So things are looking good on revenues overall. We ended today, we're up a couple of $100,000. We have some areas in expenditures that are down a few $100,000. Unfortunately, we have some areas that are up a few $100,000. So stay tuned. We'll talk about it next month.
Oh, I got that one marked on my
Can't wait.
calendar.
Yeah, it'll be a long one.
Can't wait. Excuse me, still got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Lastly, under requiring action, we have the approval of paid bills through April of 2018. And we'll need to do this through a roll call vote.
So
What were the championship rings for on page
Cheerleading.
5? Cheerleading?
Cheerleading.
Did somebody do a second?
I did.
Either one of us, both of us moved, so.
Okay. Ms. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Crum?
Yes.
Mr. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Abstain.
Good.
I'll turn it over to you, Mr. President, for the consent agenda items.
All right. Let's look at the consent agenda items. With the following approval for the minutes. Work session, April 10th, 2018. Organizational meeting, April 10th, 2018. Regular session, April 10th, 2018. Executive session, April 10th, 2018. Ratification of the substitute teacher report. Ratification of athletic worker support. Acceptance of the following employee resignations. Tyson Roth, Ryan Eaton, Tammy Eifert, Jessica Limbaugh, Andrea Kasha, Chris Lowe, Natalie Kirk. Approval of 2018-2019 student handbooks. Sale of surplus school property pursuant to board policy DNAP for school buses. And board policy approval for local amendment only GCPB and JGR1. And I will entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second. All right, questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.